Good evening, witches. It's Halloween tomorrow.
Where's the pumpkins? Can
The
you
pumpkins
see
are on there. They've got the candles in.
They can see. Oh, with the hot.
They've got candles in, Kimberly.
Oh, I was going to
It's
show
alright,
them.
leave them.
But yeah, I can't. You can see
You
the
can
reds.
you can see
well,
the reds.
the little. What do you call it?
What?
The little green.
Stout? I don't know.
Stout. Stem?
Stem? What would you call it?
Yeah, Google it.
Google it. Anyway. It's,
We're waffling
we're waffling again.
Already there.
This is episode 2 of Breaking the Silence, presented by myself, Luke.
And me, King.
And together, we are Breaking Paranormal UK. Obviously, this is only our second attempt at doing a podcast. We're still practicing. We've still got mics to look like they're working, but they're not. Because I need to get fiddle about with the
And you may have
microphone
noticed that on the last podcast that there might have been a bit of a technical difficulty with the sound.
Hopefully.
But you could still hear us, so that's the main thing. Just hear us. So hopefully on this one, this should be able to hear us a little bit better.
Hopefully when we get some the mic recorder kit, the twiddle about a bit.
The little, you know.
It should be better. But we're practicing. We'll get there in the end.
Yeah. It's not like many of you listen anyway. There's about 30 of you out there, but you know, you appreciate it.
And we looked at the average viewing time was what, 3 minutes? So
yeah, so they probably don't even hear this bit, so it doesn't matter anyway.
But we don't do it for the views, we do it because it's a hobby for us. We like talking about the paranormal, we like getting questions and answers of other people.
And we like talking.
We like talking, or Kim does. Chat now.
Yeah, I like gossip.
Anyway, this episode is all about traditional methods in the paranormal, whether they should be used today, whether they should not be used today. That was me overthinking there.
So when we mean traditional methods, we mean things such as seances, Ouija boards, table tipping,
Mirror scrying.
Do you think of any more?
Mediumship.
Crystals,
Rapping.
pendulums, rapping,
yeah.
not like
Not rap,
you know,
rappy, rap.
hip hop,
Just like tapping.
like tapping noises. Yeah, things like that. Did you say spirit writing?
Spirit writing now, didn't I?
We didn't say spirit writing. We might have already said it, but if we haven't, spirit writing.
We're just waffling, aren't we?
And I just want to as well say that as a team, we've dabbled with near enough everything, I would say.
Yeah.
We've tried a bit of everything, so we've got a bit of experience behind us when it comes to these methods. So, because we like to have a mixture.
I did my first Ouija board when I was what, 16, 17?
Yeah.
That was
How old was I?
pretty cool.
I think mine was when I was 17.
Same age as me then.
So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Obviously, you would have been, what? When I was 17, 14, 13.
Yeah, pedo.
Scary, innit?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But, you know, when I thought about this debate, and as I was sort of like writing my notes what I wanted to say, I actually quickly realised that this debate is actually more about a debate with skeptics versus believers. Because I think it goes from one extreme to the other. I think if you're a skeptic, you probably don't believe in things like the Ouija board and mediumship and things like that. But if you're a believer, you probably more likely would believe in everything, really. So I think it's been an interesting debate.
Interesting topic, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's one that's obviously, it has been talked about a lot, especially recently, because recent things have come through that have been happening at the moment through the paranormal world. So, you know, you might be bored of hearing about it, but I think it's a topic that's never going to go away. We're always going to talk about it, and it's a good one. So we thought it'd be a good
episode, wouldn't it?
Yeah, good episode. So,
obviously you can see that's one of the reasons. I like Jonathan Ross now. What's he? But yeah, one of the topics that was
don't drop
mentioned on the candles. Is it the pound shop a Ouija board?
Yeah,
Obviously
which was recent.
Recent, that was, yeah.
Yeah.
People complaining that the pound shop was selling Ouija boards.
Yeah, which we'll
Which was...
talk about
Yeah.
a bit more later.
Oh,
When we talk about Ouija boards. But first I want to sort of talk about where it all sort of started. So I'm going to talk about spiritualism. And if you'd listened to the last podcast, you would know that we did speak briefly about the Fox sisters in America. And I just want to read...
She's been reading me books again.
I just want to read page 66, 666, start of events for the Fox sisters. It's only a short paragraph, but I just wanted to talk about how it all started for them, because I thought it's key that we talk a bit more about them, because...
You've got a cup of tea, folks.
Yeah,
a cup of tea.
Get ready.
Get comfortable.
So, page 66. Let me just make sure I've got the right bit.
She's got her notes here, look.
Yeah, I've got my notes. I bet they're all so excited. Where is it?
She's lost it. She even put a bookmark in there.
Right, hang on. Okay, I'm going to start from here. In December 1847, the Fox family moved to the New York village of Hydesville. Within days of their arrival, they began to notice strange things happening in their new home. Loud rapping, furniture that seemingly repositioned itself, beds that rocked by themselves. Over the next 3 months, the phenomena continued to increase in both frequency and decibels. And I also want to give everyone one. I have got dyslexia, so yeah, decibels. The Foxes, not the sisters, the Foxes. Youngest daughter Kate soon discovered that the spirit would respond to questions and requests. When a neighbour suggested that the spirit could communicate by rapping at the appropriate points as letters of the alphabet were read aloud, Kate, her sister Margaret, and their mother were happy to comply. The spirit named itself Charles Ryan and gave as its reason for reaching out from beyond the grave the goal of proving once and for all that survival after death was possible. So that's where it kind of all started for them, and it sort of just took off in interest, and they started to do shows across the country in America. And people would pay to see them, you know, table tipping, and they also claimed that they could obviously speak with the dead. So
obviously they started off, like you say, in their house, pranking their mother, didn't it?
Well, the thing is, you read so many different things. Sometimes you read it was a hoax, and other times you read it somewhere else and it actually happened. I think it's for you to decide. They did, one of the sisters, which again noted in the last podcast, did come forward and said it was all a hoax, but then she retracted what she said, so she went back on it. But I don't know if that's because the money ran out.
Could have been. Obviously, the stories I've read is started off pranking their mum. Then the two of them moved in with their older sister in New York. Then she got wind of it, and it went from there basically to make money. And then they started doing shows, filling theatres, and then they got obviously was getting the believers in, and also the skeptics who was trying to debunk what they was doing.
Yeah.
They could never debunk it. Just I don't know what. I think it was something to do with the toes or something. She was clicking her big long toes.
Yeah.
And then it was one of them. In the end, one of them was doing it. Two of them quit it, and one of them was doing it for like 40, 50 years. And then obviously with them doing the theatre shows, people got bigger and bigger involved in it, and they went on to do it elsewhere. Other people started doing it, and here we are today, still doing it. And
there was an explosion of mediums. Everyone was all of a sudden like doing seances in their own homes.
Yes.
It was, you know, it is known as a parlour game. in those days. You might still class it as that if you're sceptical, maybe it's just a game, but you know, it's a good start. I think that's where it all started, and it's just exploded, and it's just continued today.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think before we get into it as well, I think we should phone our favourite team member.
Favourite? She's got favourites now. Did you hear that? James and Lisa. Nemma.
Only because he does
Jackie.
the podcast and the rest of you are really mardy and won't join in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then James won't do Zoom for some reason.
No, because he's not. He thinks he's too cool for school. So that's why, at the moment, Glenn is the favourite.
So we'll
Again, before we phone him, we just want to apologise for his accent. Do it every time, because if you haven't watched the last podcast, you wouldn't understand why we're having to apologise. But once you hear him talk, they'll understand, won't they?
Yeah, it's like the Nottingham accent, isn't it?
No, there's nothing
So
wrong.
they say tuna.
Tuna.
Tuna. I say tuna. You say cob. I say bun.
Yeah,
Glenn
you.
says, "What about you?"
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
You
Should
say
we phone him
tuna bun.
Tuna bun.
I say tuna cob. That could start another debate. What do you not call it?
Let's just get Glenn
just
on.
comment. Yeah, let's phone Glenn.
No, photos. Dylan, 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 Dylan. No. Where is it?
This Zoom's a fuck about, isn't it?
It really is, isn't it? Hold on. That's it. Save photo. Come off that.
It's the same.
Wait.
It's San Francisco.
Aha. Just you wait. Done. Boom!
Wow.
Turn it sideways.
King Parano. That's better.
That's better.
Happy with that.
Yeah.
You don't look like a geek at all.
We thought for this episode of this podcast, we thought we'd discuss traditional methods of paranormal investigation. We've been discussing it for quite some time. People use it to this day. Obviously, it started in the beginning of the 1800s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we thought we'd obviously just make this episode about traditional methods. So we'll start with a simple question: is there room for the old traditional methods in today's investigating?
Probably going to say yes, because we still use them. By old traditional methods, I'm assuming you mean the Ouija boards, scrying, or you want to say crystal gazing, table spinning, table tipping,
Table turning.
seances.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's room for it. I think we're just updated with technology. So we'll have digital recorders with the seance to see if we pick up any voices that we can't hear ourselves. I think it's just been the same traditional means of investigating, because nothing else has been found that'll work scientifically, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Which do you prefer?
Technology more. But then everything's got its pros and cons. So you've got, with the technology, how can it be proved correctly? It could be a blip in the camera. The recordings could be faulted with, or people could just do it on purpose. It's still the same of people watching at home.
Yeah.
The audio can, like, you're not there in person to experience it. So if you're doing it without the technology such as seance, that's just what you feel at the time, what you hear at the time. But then you can put it down to, it's just a creak in the pipe or something, or the wooden floorboards.
The thing is, with technology as well, you've got that it can be manipulated by so many things.
Easily.
Obviously, you've got say EVP can be manipulated by anything, just the slightest wind. You've got the SP7 that just picks up radio frequencies. That can I don't really like it that much myself, but you love it.
I love it.
Obviously, if you've got like
I love
camera,
EVP.
EVP, I like that. So you've got cameras and that, you've got dying batteries that can manipulate anything. So personally, I prefer the traditional methods.
But then again, they can be manipulating themselves as well, I think.
You've got your own senses. You've got your own sight. You've got your own smell, ears. I prefer doing it that way than the actual using the equipment.
But in a way, it's been proven that it's been like easy manipulated himself by just doing them, because if someone's not got the personality of, they're not like, they need a more of a push to know what that thing is, for example. They kind of like fall on the, I wouldn't want to say like a sheep personality, but like a following personality. Oh, actually, was it? Or was it that? They don't want to stand up and say, well, actually, no. You obviously know it was a door just shutting, but because he just walked through it. You know, like, that's the way I see it. That can be manipulated in that sort of sense.
Yeah.
Where if everyone believes strongly that it's that, and it all just goes around. We've had it all on the table before, and we're sitting there like, it's not that though. And everyone around the table just suddenly believes that it's a spirit or someone. I think, and that's
So when we're together as a group, when we do some stuff like that, we all ask each other if it was them first, don't we?
Yeah.
And we debunk it that way. Yeah. Obviously, then we try if we've got cameras recording us, we'll go back to that.
Yeah.
And then if that we can't answer it that way, then we'll.
I think the cameras that
side.
I think the cameras there, they are good there for backup, because obviously when we can't just think back straight away 30 seconds ago, because my opinion would be different to your opinion and Kim's opinion. But if you've got the camera, it's there set ready to go, and it's recording what's been happening throughout the whole time. All you got to do is press rewind.
What, out of all the traditional methods, Glenn, which one is your favourite? Which one do you go to?
I'd say more the seance one is probably the more that I can feel more involved with, because the Ouija board, I mean, looking through the history and that, they try and get some research before the podcast and that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a game made to try and outsell Monopoly.
Oh wow.
So it was going by a bloke. Hold on, I'll get the names.
Go for it.
Give me a second. Hashtag going through them notes. Elijah Bond.
Yeah.
And his sister-in-law, who was claimed to be a strong medium, should jump on the game using the planchette, and the name spelt itself out on the planchette, calling itself Ouija.
Yeah.
But it was originally made for, like, it was a toy / dating game. So it says in the rules, made for ladies and gentlemen. Preferred one lady, one man sort of thing. So when they get together, they can do the game together and then involve in dating.
Nice.
Oh, that's weird.
It was sold in toy shops, wasn't it?
Yeah, Toys R Us.
Even this one here, that was recently sold in the.
Is that the Poundland one?
That's
the
pound
shop one.
Yeah, this is it.
Yes.
Wait for a $5.
Yeah. Then you've got scrying. Like, scrying's one of them ones where it's what your imagination perceives it as.
Yeah.
And like, there's the scientists who said about the scrying, and it's the same as crystal balls. They're kind of exactly the same, apart from not looking inside a crystal ball or a palm ball, whatever you want to call it. They're looking in a mirror. And the scientists believe that it's a sense of whatever's in your subconscious coming out of light.
That's
coming out into the mirror.
Like I say, if you're staring into a mirror with a torch under your face, you're seeing all sorts. So if you stare at a brick wall for so long, you're going to start seeing things in the brick wall. Yeah. Because your eyes.
Same when you're sitting there in the tree line when you go camping, and you're sitting there in your trees to start becoming shapes all of a sudden and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I think as well, if you're someone that really wants something to happen, you're more likely to, like, your brain's more likely to sort of make things up to make you feel like it's
definitely,
because you really want it to happen.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I prefer the seance a bit.
Yeah.
The thing is, like with seances, do you prefer it with a medium or without a medium? Because originally it was meant to be done with a medium, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It's one of them ones where, what would you class as a medium? Because there's all different types. Was it clairvoyant, clairaudient? Then you got the third ones. So only one can hear, only one can see, and then you get the only one that can get both the powers.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, one can see like the future and.
So it's one of them ones how you perceive it, or what sort of medium they come across as. Personally, like, each their own. If they start getting stuff correct and there's no complaints, really, like, fair play. They've got the knowledge, or they've done a lot of good research.
Do you believe in mediums then, Glenn? I'm
skeptical. I'm on the fence. Like I said before, Ian Roman, he was fantastic. Like, I thought he was absolutely class, and it's one of them ones where if he's getting the right amount of information, and I thought the professionalism about him, he'll tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, you know. But I haven't experienced somebody, like, he didn't sit us down, only working alongside him in that investigation in Australia. But I never actually sat down with one, and they've actually pinned, apart from Kim and, like, tarot cards, obviously.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, don't tell people about that because I'll end up getting messages for
What was it?
reasons.
Was it a top trumps? Did you get top trumps out?
just started colouring them in.
We have got a sensitive on the team, Lisa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she censors things, but she doesn't. She'll come out with the odd name, but I'm not. I don't know if I'm right in saying this. If she listens to this, she might get angry. But I don't think she's trained enough to be like a full medium. And she's come out with a good few things. We said on the last podcast that we like to have her around because you can literally bounce off her sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think she's a good part of the team. Do you think? For teams, do you think it's necessary that they should have someone like that?
I would say yes, and it also depends on the rift between the team. If someone thinks that, if they're very much skeptical and that always disagree with how the medium or so comes across, or with what they're saying, then it might just cause rifts. But whereas with us, when we investigate, we go to Lisa first. Yeah. I don't know why. We just got. Do you feel anything? It's just habit. It's like we just want to know. I just feel not feeling anything. All right, no.
To me, it's like if you've got a sensitive or a medium on the team and you pick some up yourself while you wear something, you like to get back up by asking somebody else.
Yeah.
Especially medium.
Yeah. I like as reassurance as well, because like sometimes when you're calling out and you think, oh, I might be a bit edgy, or I might try and wind them up a little bit. I sort of would look at Lisa as if to say, am I okay, sort of thing. So it's like
the thing with Lisa, she doesn't come across like that. She doesn't come across like, oh, we've got to follow me, do this, do that. Like,
no,
she doesn't like bring it out of you, sort of thing. It's just like a natural thing. Oh, you're feeling anything now, because we're not actually sensitive. But like 9 times out of 10, she's normally quite quiet about it.
Yeah.
And then she'll only say, oh, I'm getting drawn across to here, and we'll go right, and we'll either separate, like split up and look for clues, or like we'll go like somewhere with Lisa, like, you know what I mean? Like we'll go across somewhere and like we'll say like, are you feeling over here? Yeah, we'll feel over there, and we'll like take turns. We won't just bombard as a whole 10 of us, 12 of us into one room. We'll take turns and doing that,
Say that again.
Which one?
Look for clues.
Let's split up and look for clues.
Ouija boards, Glenn. We mentioned them a minute ago. Do you think they're dangerous?
No. I think, like, knowing the past of it and the history of it and all these rules that have came about it all, sort of thing. But I understand, right, if it was made from some old sacred wood and it was like only so many made in the world that had this ability, like an old ancient wood from the trees or where it was from the bloody druid times or something, then I'd fair and I'll go, I might have some sort of mystical powers or something, but not if they're made in the back of IKEA shelving.
No, yeah.
It's just like, and then you've got like a Poundland one, and
it's paper.
I don't see that.
So did you think then it was really silly when people sort of was going crazy that Pound Shop was selling?
Yeah, I think it's a bit over the top. I mean, come on, does it say in the box 3 and over or something, or 6 and over or something?
Let's have a look. No.
No.
I can't see it. Doesn't say anything about age.
No.
What does it say on the box?
No. Says, first gather a few friends. Set the mood, dim the lights, light candles, light incense if you wish. Sit on the floor or around a table so that everyone can see and reach the board. Designate one person to ask all the questions so that the spirits don't get confused. I think it's the first time I've read all this.
Yeah, we didn't even think to read the box.
Yeah, it's got like full,
On the planchette, it should be resting just above the letter G to start. Ask all players to gently place their index finger on the planchette. Slowly move it in a circle to let the board warm up and concentrate on what you want to ask. Gently rest the fingers to allow the planchette to move freely. Develop an opening ritual, greet the spirits, and affirm that only positive energy is welcome.
I think that was the rabbit.
That was a rabbit then. Did you hear that? Did you hear that?
That
scared me, that did.
You actually was a little bit scared then.
Scampy, shut up. Always be friendly to the spirit to encourage them to cooperate. Start
8 and over.
Yeah. Start with
the ones that
What?
ones that we've got. No, the ones that we've got.
Yeah.
They're 8 and over. They're for a family.
Ah,
8 and over.
Does it say on them ones?
Yeah.
these are the ones, isn't they?
Yeah. Bottom left, it should say. On the front.
Yeah, bottom,
yeah, bottom, yeah. And it says family on it.
Yeah.
It's a family game.
You don't eat dessert. You're not going the Ouija board, right? You're not going to speak to your granddad.
If we ever had kids, it won't be, do you want to play Cluedo? It will be, shall we get the Ouija board out?
Yeah, man.
It's like stuff like that. I mean, I think when Poundland was selling them, they're just starting me crazy. They would have made loads of money off that, and fair play to them for doing so.
Yeah.
I bought 2. Just because I didn't believe. I know, because I saw the Facebook post that someone that was selling them. So because I was working in town at the time, I popped in and had a look, and they had a few. I was surprised.
That's
I bought 2.
I think people like you saw what was it, news articles and stuff on Facebook and that, and it was just like people trying to make a story for themselves about the Ouija boards, how this can happen, and fair play for other teams trying to advertise that sort of thing about themselves, but in reality, you're not going to get that.
No. I
You're not going to start opening portals around the world.
I read a post and it literally had that they were satanic. And I always say it like, what's going to happen? Little pound shop demons are just going to be popping up everywhere.
The imps and that.
Little imps for £1.
Pound shop version of Zozo, yeah. Zim Zim.
But if you're watching and you want this Ouija board, I'm going to let you win it. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share it on Facebook and PM me that you have done it.
I'll sign it for
I'll
you.
put you into a raffle.
For £1 a ticket.
For £1 a ticket. No, £2. You got to make a bit of money. Come on. Well, anyway, going back to traditional methods, have you ever actually done table turning?
I did it with you. I did it with you guys, yeah.
He does it this weekend.
That's table dancing, that game. That's what I do every weekend. No, I've done it with you guys, and I've actually enjoyed the experience.
Yeah.
Did you get it from
I think you've got nothing, I would say, spooky, but like more interested in the science behind the fact that the table's spinning without what the hell's happening here, sort of thing. More intrigued than anything else.
I think I went on when I did it for my first time on a public ghost hunt anyway.
Yeah.
They had this little round table, thin stalk, like whatever, batten in the middle of it. This is a stand, I don't know, a table stand, and I had like 3 thingying off. And it was actually moving. It went all the way to the floor and then all the way back up. I've actually got it on my Facebook. I'll have to put it back up. I shared it.
Yeah, I think you have shared it.
That was pretty convincing. But I say
the thing that I enjoyed the most about them was that some teams had it happen to them and then some teams didn't.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's pretty interesting. I didn't notice it that way. Then you've got the human pendulum. That's more or less in a similar virtue of it.
Yeah.
But with a living body, I suppose. But I know James absolutely hates that, doesn't he?
James hates everything. Like, so he hates human pendulum. He hates the spirit box. He hates me. I don't even know why he's my friend.
He hates me.
he still goes to him, doesn't it? So, what your conclusion then, Glenn? Because I did this last time with you. So your conclusion is?
I believe it. Yeah, it's got a lot of time for the modern era due to the fact that we're still using the old techniques, and they're still getting us results.
Yeah.
So my verdict's yes.
Cool. Yeah, I like it. I like using traditional methods in my hunting.
I like it. I like a mixture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Obviously, we're not experts. This is just our opinion.
Excuse me.
No one's an expert. Expert and the paranormal should not go together one bit. No, it shouldn't.
Cat noise.
The first episode of Breaking the Jaw.
That's really nice. Okay.
sorry.
She beats me up.
So yeah,
She had the
that
gun
is-
to your head, didn't she, in that photo?
You know what?
which
She had the
one?
gun to your head in the photo.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
when we went to Winchester Mansion.
Yeah.
Mystery house, wasn't
My favourite comment was, "Get the pots done, bitch." Because that's literally something I said to him. I thought, wow, she really knows me.
Luke's just
Probably a
shaking his head.
medium. She might have sensed it.
She might have, you never know.
Yeah. So yeah,
So yeah.
I think that's it, Glenn.
Roger.
Thanks
Right,
for
I'll let you
coming
off.
on.
Oh God, is a cracker, isn't it, Glenn?
Yeah. Suppose.
Suppose is a bit of
Yeah.
a right.
Yeah.
But anyway, carry on the subject of seances and mediumship.
I'm gonna move this out.
You're gonna move that out of the way. You can see her notes now. Do you like that?
Don't look at our notes.
Do you like the thing? You can put that there.
Oh yeah.
Put that
I
there.
don't
Notes like that.
yeah.
Let's set the candles on fire.
Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe we should just move the notes a bit like here. So I'll add a bit of music on top.
Yeah.
So it makes it interesting. So yeah. Seances and mediumship. So we, like I say, we like to use all kinds of methods. I personally like a seance to start the night. I feel like, you know, it builds the energy up, it gets people in the mood, and it's, you know, we've had some interesting responses, haven't we?
You see what people you've got with you.
Yeah.
See what energies you've got around you.
Yeah, you can always tell the
You can always
believers
tell.
and skeptics, the ones there that are there for a giggle.
It's always good to, like say, get your energy built up, get your inner senses working properly, ready for the night ahead. I like a good seance.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just part of paranormal, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think if you go to an event and you're not doing a seance, boring. It gets people involved,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Instead of just sitting there whilst you're sat there with a piece of equipment, you know, they can literally like get involved.
Sit around a table, or hold hands, or touch the table, touch each other's fingers. You can do it with a medium. You can do it without a medium.
Yeah, today, I mean, traditionally it was with a medium.
Yeah. I'm fair. I like it with a. I don't know. I like it with and I like it without. Because I like to get. Like you pick up your own then.
Yeah.
Instead of just listening to the medium.
Yeah, but Glenn made a good point.
Yeah.
Because we obviously had that night with Ian Lawman, and it was really interesting for us because it was more sort of on the sensitive side. It was more spiritual, and you know, like I say, we like to mix it up, but it felt like a completely different event for us. But it was really, I really enjoyed it because it was so different. So I mean, looking through history, I've got here that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Do you know who he is?
No.
He was the writer of Sherlock Holmes.
Okay.
And you wouldn't think that the writer of Sherlock Holmes would be so interested in spiritualism, but he actually really was. This was in the 1920s. He did many seances, and he used to do them with his friend Harry Houdini, I think it was. Yeah, Harry Houdini, and they actually did one seance, well I say one, few seances with one particular medium that was famous for coming up with the whole ectoplasm thing. Her name, well, she was known as Ava C. I will put her full name on the video because
Obviously the ectoplasm was said to come out of people's, like, was it medium's mouths? And
yeah, gross.
all sorts.
Yeah.
But was it just eating something and then regurgitating it up again to make it look like as ectoplasm?
Definitely.
Definitely.
Look, I mean,
Why,
I can't say, I've never actually seen this. In my whole entire time of doing this,
exactly. Why is no one doing it now?
I've never seen ectoplasm come out of someone.
Why is no mediums getting ectoplasm coming out of the mouth now?
I don't know.
Because it was fake.
You're not convinced with the
No.
whole ectoplasm thing.
No.
Is anyone? Well, I'm asking if anyone has had the experience with ectoplasm. I would actually like to speak with you because I've never, in my whole entire.
But what was it? What was it meant to be?
It's
Was it
well,
meant to be a ghost coming out here?
yeah, it's
Ghost
supposed
going in
to.
here? That
Yeah.
sounds pretty wrong, but
Yeah, it's supposed to have been that sort of thing, but you're
no
not
one does it
convinced.
anymore. So why? If they can still do it, they'll still be doing it.
Yeah. So one of the questions as well that skeptics used to ask a lot of mediums in those days was, why were seances held in a dimly lit room? Why is it in the dark? Why do you think that, Luke?
I think because the dark, when it's like now when you ghost hunt, you do it in the dark. It's because your senses and noise is more heightened in the dark. Say if you was to go outside your front door at night, you could hear a lot more than you could in the day.
Yeah.
Because like I say, there's something about the dark. It heightens your senses more.
Well, a friend of famous mediums, the Davenport brothers, again back in the day, actually answered a skeptic on this. His name is Orrin Abbott, and he actually said, this is his words, it agitated the condition in which spirits could not manifest if the room was lightly, if the lights was on, because they believed in like particles and stuff, and like it manipulated the spirits to come through.
Yeah.
So if say like the lights are on, it's interfering with them trying to come through in the atmosphere, and that was his argument to that.
It's fair one, I suppose. You've got the what is it? The ultraviolet. What is it? It's like, what's it called? There's a name for it, but I can't remember. It came up.
I'll put it on.
Basically, it's what you can see and what you cannot see. You got the light. Is it your? I can't remember what it's called. I can't remember. Baffling me. Obviously, basically, it's to do with lighting. Anyway.
Yeah.
You got your ultraviolet light. You've got all them different kinds of light and what you can and cannot see. Obviously, we can go so high that we can see, and you've got the other side of that, say the barrier, which is what I said, the energy of the spirit is meant to reside in. It's a bit like
white noise. Would you say noise?
no, a bit like what is it, crossing over to the other side kind of thing. When you basically it's all around us,
Yeah.
but you can't see it.
You can't because you're not.
Yeah, but if you was to look through like night vision,
Yeah.
basically. You'll have to Google it, I can't remember what it's called.
Again,
You'll put it on
Google. Google. I want to talk about the poll that we
Okay.
did. So I did a poll, and I asked, are Ouija boards dangerous? And it was a simple yes no again. So I'm just going to get the comments up for you all. And we actually had quite a few comments this time.
Okay.
After a little bit of a nudge, wink wink. I don't know why I did 2 eyes.
No judgment wings, my mate Gary Poundland.
Do you
that.
really want him to get...
Gary
you
Poundland,
really
you've got to come on a ghost hunt with us.
You
Get on
really
it.
want his attention, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Get over it, Luke, okay?
I'm going to have to pay.
He's never going
Pay
to
him to
want
come
to
on a
come
ghost hunt
and
with us.
hang out with us, ever. He's too cool for us. So, yeah, we had quite a bit of a reaction to this, and I kind of felt that we would. Because like I say, with the Ouija boards, it's a topic that comes up quite a bit. There's a lot of, bad rep around the Ouija. So I wasn't really surprised that we did get the comment. Well, it kind of was nice. It was a nice surprise.
Yeah, it
we
was.
like it when people join in, because otherwise it's, awkward. But yeah, so I put yes, no, and then some other people have sort of gone on and they've added their little,
Yeah.
what's
How
the
many
word,
votes
column.
did you get for yes? It is dangerous.
For yes, we actually got 12 votes. But for no, guess how many we got for no? No, 43. And then other categories that people have added. So we've got a category added here by Louise, and she's put it depends on the spirit. And we've had 6 votes for that.
Okay.
And then Anne has put she's not sure, and she's put 1 vote for that. So yeah, that's just 1 vote. So looking at the comments, so we'll start from the top, and we've got Danny that's put sex boards are better. Love art, love art, love art. Thanks for that.
Thanks for that.
That's really helpful. And then Dave has put only dangerous if you're you and you get told off on TV for not closing it right. And I did respond to this. I went, meow, and he says he likes the cat noise, so I'll put an extra cat noise on for him on this. I'm glad that he has brought this up. When we agreed to help My House is Haunted, which by the way, they actually came to us, it wasn't the other way around. They just wanted a story, didn't they? And
pretty much.
we was having odd things happen around the house. We was quite vocal about it on social media. We did a blog post on it. In fact, I even got a blog post titled "Help, I think my house is really haunted." I didn't mean literally I needed help. I mean I need help in other things, but I don't need help in that way. I just like the title of it, okay? You know, it wasn't, you know, what I was trying to get at.
Actually reached out on Twitter, weren't they?
Yeah, and it's just, there was like, oh, do you have any stories? And we're like, oh, we're getting a few things in our house. Not thinking they'd be interested because it's just a normal house. It's not a castle or it's not a dungeon. It's not, you know, an old pub or anything. It's just a normal house, and they were interested.
But we just wanted to get clarification, didn't we?
Yeah,
really?
and also we thought, you know what, it'd be really interesting to have a new bunch of investigators come in. You know, investigators that we've sort of seen throughout the years on TV, see what they come up with. I was really excited for Chris Fleming to come in and do his thing, and you know.
He shut you down.
No, he didn't. He did what he does,
yeah.
And you know he's entertaining. He's literally what you see on TV. Barry was lovely. He was really reassuring.
Yeah, it was alright, Barry.
Yeah, he was really nice. And yeah, it was interesting, and you know we got the whole. Basically, the producer came round and he saw the Ouija board at the bottom of the stairs, didn't he? Which, by the way, we're gonna have Ouija boards because we're an events company and we deal with Ouija boards. And his eyes lit up, didn't he? He was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And he's like, do you mind if we use a Ouija board? You know, mind if we do the episode around the Ouija board? And he was like, yeah, not really thinking anything of it, you know.
I just meant the wanted to use a Ouija board.
Yeah, I did think that, but then it just turned into a bit of a lecture. You don't know how you're opening close.
Yeah, that's what it pretty much
but
was.
it wasn't. To be fair, what they were referring to was they believed that a Ouija board session actually happened previously before we moved into the house. That's what they was trying to get at, but it's not full on strong, but if you watched it and you didn't know us, you'd probably think there was on about us. People that know us and have been on our events can see that we're experienced and we do know what we're doing. I don't know why, not very convincing when I said it there, but we do know what we're doing. And what you got to understand is our story was quite a sensitive subject because, you know, it's quite a personal story. It was about my granddad. The episode's literally called Ghost of Granddad, and I think they added the Ouija board element to make it, you know, scary.
Yeah.
To make it tense. But really, the real story really is about my granddad, and overall was happy that, you know, Chris came around and he gave us, you know, them nice messages that he did give. It was quite reassuring.
Reassuring for you, wasn't it?
Yeah. And it was quite a nice episode in the end, despite the Ouija board thing. I mean, it was one of my fears. I did actually kick off a little bit when I found out that, you know, they was asking all these questions about the Ouija board, but the producer had to come in and be like, it's fine. I was a bit of a diva. I was a bit like, I'm not happy. But obviously, for obvious reasons, I didn't want them to portray us as inexperienced when we have been going on for a while. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. So thanks Dave for saying that, and I will put loads of cat noise sounds over all the stuff that you've said. Is there anything else you want to say on Help My House is Haunted?
No. You've cleared up pretty much, haven't you?
But it
We
was
can close
fun.
that chapter now.
We can close that chapter. It was really fun, and it was a nice episode in the end. And I actually, if anything, most of the comments was about Chris's feet on the sofa. It was like, how dare he put his feet on that sofa?
What was pretty weird is how they left oil or whatever it
It
was
was like some kind of oil
on
around.
the setting and on our bed. That was pretty weird.
Like, probably ectoplasm from
Good.
Chris. Well, he did that weird leg thing, didn't he? So
Right,
probably
yeah,
had to have a
come on.
shake. Anyways, moving on. Dave, it's not always the boards that are dangerous, it's the users. And you asked, as in the way they call out being aggressive, and he put, to some degree, yes, that can have an effect. And then Tracy's just popped on and she's agreed with Dave. Do you think that being aggressive can, you know, be
No.
damaging or?
No, because like I say, it's not really. You can. It's not just the Ouija board, though, is it? It's not actually the board. I think he's saying it's the person that's using the board. And like I say, you can get a negative energy or a negative spirit in anything you do in the paranormal.
Yeah.
It doesn't just have to be a board.
No.
So.
Do you think it's wise for people to have this aggressive stance when it comes to calling out?
No, because it don't work.
So what other comments have we had? Mike Perrin, who actually we used to call him Pops. Hi,
Oh,
Pops. It totally depends on the spirit called for. It needs to be remembered that a negative energy can take on another spirit's energy and can come through as a good spirit. And then you've responded, that also goes for all methods using my eyes, which is what you just said a minute ago. And then he's put, everyone using the board should treat it with respect, as they may just get more than they bargained for.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Pops, if I remember rightly, was a sensitive, so he would be a big believer. So I'd imagine, you know, he would be quite superstitious of the board. But, you know, maybe he's right. We won't be more respectful when you're using it.
Yeah. What should you do anyway?
I can't remember if, I don't think I ever have been aggressive when using the board.
No need.
No, but it's never, like I say, when we've been on the board, it's never moved, when it's just been us. So we don't even get to that point, to be fair.
No. It never has.
To be fair, actually, when we went to the Robin Hood Museum, it was me, Lisa and Mum. I think that was it on the actual...
Yeah. Okay,
It was, yeah, and it was actually moving a little bit, only a little bit, but it still impressed me because I was like, oh my god. Because I trust all two of them. So I know for a fact that they wouldn't push it. And to be fair, I actually did feel a bit strange, and I actually felt a bit strange quite a couple of times using the board, as in like quite woozy and like, I don't know if it's because you're standing up, you're arched over, you're tired, you really want it to move, so your brain's, you know, going into overdrive. But if you've watched some of our videos, you'll probably notice that when we have used the Ouija board, I might have said like, oh, I'm feeling a bit weird. But I don't know if that's paranormal or if it's just...
Yeah, they say getting tired. When you stand up, you're bent over.
So it could be more like...
Tired and achy.
Yeah. Glenn has put, I don't know why Glenn's commented, because he's literally had like a whole, an hour? He says, I wish every Ouija board session was like the ones in Hollywood, which again, he said, I think Hollywood's got a lot to answer for when it comes to the Ouija board, with their extreme, like, you know, people being chucked in the air, killed.
Yeah.
And that's probably had an effect on, you know, people, because they've gone, geez, that must be like what it's really like.
Sells though, doesn't it?
It is. It's a big selling point for films. So
Definitely.
don't believe the films. Don't believe the TV. Well, believe it, some things, but just remember it has that,
Skeptical about it.
you know, it has the entertainment value as well. So I believe with TV, I mean, I'm talking about TV again because we talked about it last time. I think that TV can provide evidence, but they also have to have the entertainment side as well. So
Just sit to YouTube.
Marius has put, I think it all depends on certain people's state of mind. If you believe in the great beyond, then every tap, bang, creak and chill is going to be paranormal to them, when in actual fact 99% of the paranormal phenomena has a perfectly reasonable explanation. I personally don't disbelieve, as I love all aspects of the paranormal, especially you are I can't even say it.
Ufologist.
Yeah. I have a very open mind. One thing's for certain. Me and my brother and a couple of other families, night fishing on a pond, had a strange encounter with red and green football-sized orbs, giving us a light show, then shooting off in the blink of their eye. Amazing stuff. That's because you asked him about UFOs.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
And his comment kind of went, one thing's for certain, and then he never finished what he put.
Oh yeah.
So that's a mystery. We don't know what he was put there.
Finish the paragraph.
Finish the paragraph. But what he says in the beginning bit, I can't. He sounds like he's on my wavelength here. I think it does all depend on the person's state of mind.
Yeah.
I think when you come in to use a Ouija board, I do think you have to be emotionally stable, mentally well without trying to, offend. And I also, even though this says 8+, I don't think that it should be left for kids to do. And not because I think, it's going to open up this portal. I just think because their minds are not as our minds. We're a bit more logical than kids. Kids have big imaginations. They will go crazy.
Oh yeah, crazy.
And they'll scare themselves, and then that's it. They'll be not sleeping well and causing all kinds of stuff.
It says family 8+ and 2 or more players.
Mm.
Why is it made for 2 or more players? Why can't you do it on your own?
I don't know, because I have seen people doing it on their own.
Yeah. Why is that? Why is it?
Maybe for the
Obviously
point of the game.
These ones are the Hasbro gaming ones.
Mm.
Obviously these ones that they would have been sold in the shops.
Mm.
So why do they need 2 or more players? There's no
I don't
dice
know.
throwing involved, is there? There's no winning or losing.
I don't know. But like Glenn said, that there was like a dating game.
Mm.
So maybe that's why. But maybe in terms as a game, you're supposed to have 2.
Okay.
But maybe if you come spiritually, you could maybe just have the one person.
Yeah.
So he did finish it. He says, "For certain, we will all know the truth one day.
Yeah.
When we die." He didn't say that, but I just wanted to finish that bit.
What about UFOs or ghosts?
I think he was on about what he originally said.
Yeah, UFOs.
No.
Well, no,
Before
when
the
they come
UFO
out,
bit, get UFOs out your head.
they're gonna come on. We'll be sat here with our tin hats on,
You will, I'm
or
not.
in my bunker in the garden.
So Dave, this is a different Dave. It's the people that use them that make these boards dangerous, as I think most people do not shut down properly, therefore allowing not so nice spirits lurking about. And then you've put, we don't open and close anything else in the paranormal. Not so nice spirits will be there no matter if you open the door or not, surely. And Dave's put, true in most respects, but I'm talking about people inviting spirit and not closing to return spirit and letting them roam and create bad situations.
Hmm.
Again, it sounds like Dave, and I'm glad that we're having all these different comments because it's
Isn't it?
interesting to see different perspectives. He's a medium, so he obviously is a big believer, and that's fine. That's his views. So
Yeah.
it's interesting as well.
It's been on a few of our events in Marissa.
Has it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. Grimsby.
Oh, Grimsby.
Yeah, Grimsby.
Yeah.
No, that's interesting, and
I think we've covered that bit though, haven't we?
we have covered that bit. Yeah. And then Catherine is put, anything we do, we need to set the intention, or we can inadvertently bring in things that aren't for our highest good. Before I read my tarot cards, I set the intention to only work with those that come from love and light. So it's not that it's the board that's the problem per se, it's the instrument with which we use to commune with spirit. So,
person.
yeah, again, maybe that she's referring if you're aggressive, you're going to get aggression back. If you're respectful, you probably get the nice stuff back, you know. So all valid points.
All fair.
All fair. I just want to say thanks to everyone that did comment. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a shock that we got so many votes for yes.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we had quite a lot of believers.
Yeah.
You know, with their view, because I've actually got a bit of a skeptical view here. Not personally, but I just want to mention the power of suggestion. And what I mean by that is, believers are likelier to experience paranormal activity more because obviously they're in tuned, as in their minds believe, you know, everything. So they're more likely to get the activity because their minds have clicked. I mean, it's like one of the comments, you know, every rap is paranormal. And I think with the Ouija board, maybe, you know, if you're a strong believer, it's going to likely move. Maybe because we're not 100% believers, but we're not like 100% skeptics. We're sort of mid-ground. I'm just thinking maybe that's why it never moves for us.
Oh, because they don't believe it as much.
Yeah.
Could be.
It's like I said.
I don't know, because depends who you run it with, really, doesn't it? So when you've got your hand on it, like most people just lay on it, like don't even touch it, do they? So
we try not to. Yeah.
But people that believe that and want it to move, they force it down with a finger, which after a bit it's going to move.
But then again, you know, there's the theory, what I said to Glenn, was that there's a theory around that it's not actually them that's moving it, it's actually, you know, spirit communicating with their subconscious to make, and they don't realise they're moving it because it's spirit. What I mean,
no, I don't believe that.
You don't believe that? See, I don't know. I really don't. I can't say for sure.
We'll just have to research it all out. We'll do like, I don't know.
Maybe do little experiments and get a group of really strong believers on it, and then get a group of really skeptic, and go to a really haunted place that's, you know, notoriously haunted, and then see what the results are.
Yeah, but if the people are saying the Ouija boards do what they do, you don't need to go to an haunted place to do it.
Well, yeah, it can happen anywhere. It's like with Help My House is Haunted, they did actually attempt a Ouija board, didn't they, with us there, and it didn't move. It's also, like, psychological studies have shown that if you're in a stressful situation, it amplifies stuff. So if your brain is sort of heightened, you're more likely to obviously think of irrational stuff. The thing is with us, like, we have to have a reason and an explanation of everything. So even if, say, that laptop lifts in the air and like floats, we're gonna think that's a ghost.
No, I'm not. The electrical cables getting a shock to the cables and lifting it up in the air.
But you just had to have an explanation for it. We can't just say, oh, well, it's just weird. It's just weird, that is. You can't just, you have to have like you have to put a label on it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's because, I don't know, why do we do it? Why do we do it?
Why? And also, do not use it when you've drunk or you've had drugs in your system.
Why?
Do you mean why?
If not dangerous, why? Why bothered?
Because you're going to come out with all sorts, and then you're going to do something stupid. That's why. Everyone's heard the story. Oh, my dad did it and he was really drunk. He did it one night with his mates, and then the next day he's woke up and the bed thing's around his neck. Oh, it must have been an evil spirit. No, he's been drinking.
As I say, can you imagine trying to do it when you're drunk?
Oh yeah, true. You probably missed the whole planchette. So, believer's point of view, because I did the skeptical view, obviously it's natural to do the believer's point of view, and who's best, you know, the best believer you can think of. This guy, Zach Bagans. I mean, he's a huge believer, isn't he?
Yeah.
So we're going from one extreme to the other because it's only fair. So I'm going to read. I'm going to read you a page, Luke. Page
Wow.
17.
I better get comfortable again, aren't I?
Yeah. To me, the body is a perfectly reliable detector of paranormal energy. If you know how to use it right to tune into the spiritual world, this is a defining difference between our group and others. Our willingness to use our bodies as detectors and to try local and spiritual and religious rituals. We harness the power of religious groups and practices and go beyond what cold science can prove or detect in terms of the existence of another dimension. We go as far as we can to lift the veil and open up a portal to make contact. So he's basically saying that he thinks that, there's things that gadgets and equipment can pick up, but there's things that our bodies can pick up that they can't.
Yeah.
Do you believe that?
Yeah.
Oh, you did say that.
I'm not a massive
Earlier.
believer in technology, so apart from EVP cameras.
I like a new gadget though. I'm interested in
So
it.
you've
I
got,
like all
what
of it.
you got now? You've got all sorts, and you've got your obvious paranormal pork, spirit radio. Like, come on,
Yeah.
really? You get some, you might get some cool stuff now and again, but is it coincidence? Like, can you really text a ghost?
Yeah, you're not really into the paranormal book, are you? You know
I
about
use
the
it.
book?
I mean, yeah, on that. Like I say, Ovilus, is it just coincidence?
I'm not.
Spirit radio,
I'm not into Ovilus that much. Like I said to James the other day in the group chat, and we was talking about the Ovilus. Ask an investigator what the Ovilus does, because it's always interesting. Because it's like this is the answer. It's the environment, and then from the environment, the spirits can talk through the environment. Sometimes if it's cold or warm, they can use that, and they come out with words. And there's about 1,000 words in a dictionary, and it's the environment. They can use that, manipulate the environment, and come out with words and the words in the environment.
Same as the Radio Shack. Radio
No.
box.
I like the spirit radio.
I know you do. But
And I'm liking this. I mean, we used this technique years ago, but we've not really done it recently. We did it with an old paranormal mate, where they've got the whole headphones and the blindfold. I feel like we need to try that again on the next.
We tried it not so long ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
Who was it? Fort Orsted. Sure, we tried
I
it.
don't think we did.
Where did we-
Why is your memory like really bad?
I don't know.
I think the last time we tried it was actually like the Demon Church. We need to try it again because I think that's an interesting
Yeah, we'll
thing.
try it.
So-
you can, I'll try it with you.
And I've also got, you never know who you're communicating with, which is a point that we made earlier. And it's, I hear a lot of believers say this all the time, be careful. You don't, you might think you're talking to Uncle Jim. You're not, you're actually talking to a demon who's pretending to be Uncle Jim.
See how about really? Like if I was a ghost and I wanted to wind someone up or scare someone, you just I'll pretend I'm a demon or something.
I would do that. And then obviously we've got the famous demon that's linked with the Ouija board, Zozo, which again he came out a little bit, not literally, came out a little bit when we spoke to Glenn. So Zozo, yeah, he's supposed to be attached to all Ouija boards, and it's really interesting because like years ago at Strelly Hall with the old team, we was doing the guests were doing a Ouija board, and I believe these guests were actually new to paranormal, and the planchette kept going to Z and O, Z and O, and me and the other investigator kind of looked at each other as if to say, that's interesting.
Did it happen?
No. No, nothing, apart from that, nothing happened. But, I don't know whether it was, maybe that they know the stuff.
Did it happen to them?
Not that I know of. They never came back with any. But that night, it was flat. after that, nothing happened. If Zozo's supposed to be this bad, why?
Obviously, they've heard stories, haven't they?
Yeah, have they read something and thought, oh, I'm gonna,
I'm
let's spook each other out.
I'm gonna push it.
Let's push it and put Zozo because that'll freak these lot out.
Yeah.
We obviously stopped it immediately afterwards because, just in case, because you never know. But
Especially if it was to happen, you'd get the bad name for it, wouldn't you?
yeah.
So then go on, carry on.
But again, I just want to read a quick chapter on Zozo, just a bit of history of Zozo, and again, it's going to be in this book, and it's Zach's. I'd imagine it's his opinion of where Zozo could actually come from. So just bear with me. 174. Where is it? 174, paragraph 2. So Zozo could be the spirit of a man named Walter Kenilworth, a palm reader in the early 20th century who claimed that he stole people's souls through his readings. Kenilworth published books on how he used his psychic powers to steal souls and money. So there's a theory that Kenilworth is Zozo and comes through on Ouija boards to attack people. What do you think of that? It's a good story, isn't it?
It's a decent story.
They need to make a film.
Is he have to back it up?
Well, obviously, I'd have to have a quick look on that. Obviously, that's what
Google.
is claimed in the book. Google. But I thought it was quite an interesting story because I never really looked behind where this Zozo.
Everyone just assumed it's a demon, didn't they?
Yeah, there's just a demon. I mean, to be fair, I didn't really realise it was just kind of attached to a Ouija board. I've never really thought of it in that way.
But like I say, if it's just a spirit of a guy, some stories go that obviously the more you're in the spirit world and don't cross over, the more you become angry, evil, poltergeist, demon. And it goes from there really, so it could be.
But you see, they said that Zozo's really dangerous and stuff. Like I said, if Zozo's real and he really did come out of Australia all,
Why would he be attached to all spirits? Or
Ouija boards.
All the Ouija boards. It's not going to be like on the way in tomorrow. How many people's going to be using a Ouija board?
Well, he can get around it.
He's not going to be on everybody a Ouija board, is he?
Well, according to Zach
Think about that
Bagans, mate, he is.
Okay.
You're not convinced by that?
Nah.
I think they should do a film on it.
Why don't you make
I'd
film?
watch it.
I'd
I'd get one of the dogs to pretend to be Zozo. I'll get Alfie, because he looks like a demon, doesn't he?
No, he doesn't.
Get Alfie to pretend to be a Zozo. So, conclusion then. So, first we'll conclude on, is there room for traditional methods?
Yes, I like to do them.
Yeah, I think there is.
Makes the next night more interesting.
Yeah.
Picks up on your senses. And yeah, I think it's all good to use them.
I think it is as well.
Cool.
And are Ouija boards dangerous?
No.
No, I don't think. I think they are if you're not right. If you're using it.
All you got to do is just ground yourself. If you're big into spirituality and all that kind of religion stuff, before you use it, dig your heels into the ground.
Do what you need to do.
Do what you got
But
to do.
just respect the fact that we all haven't got the same view.
Everyone's got different opinions on the Ouija board.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a different opinion on the paranormal altogether.
Yeah. Exactly. But I do think that it's dangerous if you're not in the right frame of mind, if you're drunk, if you've had drugs in your system. I do think you need to be level-headed if you're using it, and I personally see it as just a game. I don't particularly think that it opens portals. Do I think that spirits can communicate with you through it? I don't know. I can't answer that. Do I think that maybe our subconscious maybe is doing it through spirits? Again, I don't know. There's no proof to say there is, but then there's no proof to really say there isn't. So I can't comment on that. But I do not think that they can open these portals to hell.
There's actually no hard proof there's a hell. There's no hard proof
Well,
there's
not
paranormal.
necessarily hell then, just a portal. I don't
Just a
believe
portal,
that.
that's what I mean. There's no
Because if
hard
that's the
evidence.
case, there'll be portals everywhere.
Exactly.
So I don't think that. So yeah, that's
Cool.
our conclusion. Anything else you want to say?
No.
And that's it, guys. Thanks for listening or watching.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for taking the time to listen to us babble on.
Yeah.
If you stuck around,
If you're stuck after the 3-minute point,
yeah. What's the next episode going to be about?
don't know yet.
Don't know yet.
You'll find out.
Thanks for watching,
Bye.
guys, and we shall see you later.
Bye.
See ya.